Hello YouTube, Felix here, Salvage Title Approaches, and today I'm going to do an oil change on a 2005 Mazda 3. To get started, some of the tools you'll need are a breaker bar, a ratchet, a 17mm socket for your oil plug. In this case, I have an adapter for my breaker bar and the socket, a mini extension, and here's my oil wrench, or the oil filter cap wrench, and I paused it just so you can see the measurements just in case. This is the filter I'm using, the CH9641 and 5W20 high mileage Valvoline oil, and that's my oil pan. Slide some cardboard underneath so you don't get your car or cement dirty, not your car. And I'm gonna warm up the engine a little bit. Open up the hood, and now that the engine's a little bit heated up, we're good. Since I figure you drive to the oil change place, the Jiffy Lube, wherever you go, it doesn't hurt for it to be cold or warm, but it's going to be warm either way. Now I'm taking off the oil cap, just so better drainage for when I undo the oil plug. And just in case you forget the oil, 5W20. I'm gonna jack up my car on that little point right there, kind of near the pinch point in the wedge, and that's where I'm gonna put my jack stand. So I'm gonna put a wood block on the back of my tires just in case the car rolls. Safety first. And now I'm just gonna jack it up in the spot that I mentioned. Now I have my jack there. I'm going to raise it a little bit later. I'll do that off camera. But I'm also going to reposition my jack just in case I have like two safety nets. Because I didn't jack up both sides of the car, just my passenger. And for reference, where the drain plug is for the oil filter, I started right there at the alternator. Kind of worked my way down, kind of like the CV shaft of the passenger side. And this plug right here is the oil plug. Just for reference. Now, I'm gonna slide under there, and we're gonna break that free using our breaker bar and the 17mm socket. So you're gonna want to go counterclockwise to break it, or reverse clockwise, however you want to say it. And that was the breaking of it. And now I'm just gonna do the rest by hand. Look at all that tasty oil. So it's 5 quarts. The engine takes less than 5 quarts, so whatever container you use, just make sure it has more than 5 quarts. That way it doesn't overfill when you do it. And I'm gonna put back the drain plug now, but I'm not gonna tighten it. It's just not even really hand tight, but we'll come back to that later. Right now we're gonna tackle the oil filter housing now, which is what I'm slapping right now. With my ratchet and my oil wrench, just gonna loosen it. Of course, counterclockwise, reverse clockwise. And unfortunately now I get the socket stuck on the plastic housing, so it takes me a while to figure out how to deal with that. But yeah, see, it's just kind of stuck there. Don't know what to do. I'm gonna use some persuasion here by whacking it, kind of just smacking it a bit, but that doesn't really do much. I tried prying it a little bit later, and it just stuck there. I finally decided that I'm just gonna take it off with the plastic housing and just change the filter as is and go from there. And let's see how much of a mess I make. Yeah, it's always a little bit messy. You gotta expect, that's what the cardboard's there for. And I pushed that container a little bit too much. I almost spilled it out onto the cardboard, but yep, removing the old filter. Should just pry off. That's what's good about the Fram one. I've used the Wix filter before, and I've had a hard time pulling it off, but this one Works pretty well. Slides on, slides off. And once again, my oil filter socket's still stuck there. So as I'm putting on the new filter, your filter should come with 2 O-rings, the main gasket. And right now I'm about to pry it, so that doesn't work. I almost felt like I was breaking the filtering there, but I decided to just give that up. And right where that filter is, that's where you need to place it. I make this critical mistake of pushing it further down than I need to, and it ends up biting me in the long run because I do end up having an oil leak that needs to be fixed later. But for now, we'll deal with that later. Here are the 2 O-rings. You want the big one. The small one is for the plastic cap. There's like an Allen socket, I guess you could say, that covers, but you don't need to change it every single time. And when I was putting on this new O-ring, I should have put some oil on it. Right there where it's at, that's how it's supposed to be for when you place it, but I put it further down on that ledge, and that's what causes a problem, so you don't want to do that. So see how I have right now? That's wrong. There's that plastic smooth surface underneath the threading, and that's where the O-ring should rest. It should just kind of slide on there normally, and that's where you want to have it, or else you're going to have leaks like I did. Now I'm putting oil on the O-ring, but I probably should have put the oil on the O-ring before putting it even on the housing, or the oil cap housing, but it'll be okay. So now putting on the new filter and putting it back in. You guys want to take a guess on if I spilled the oil or not? Because I don't spill nothing, not even a single drop. Just kidding. Yeah, but it was fun besides that. I just spilled that little bit. Cardboard caught it all. It's all good. So now we got to go back and tighten our oil plug and our socket. So I had a hard time getting that darn thing off, because you're supposed to have it hand tight, and I didn't want to hand tighten it with that thing on there. So as I was playing with it, I was like, I give up. Let's go to the plug. So there's a torque spec for these things, but what I just did was tightened it till it felt tight. I unbroke the tight seal, and then you give it 2 oogas. So it's kind of a feel thing. So when you feel it tight, you give it one more tight, and even another extra, like another oomph there. And here's my technique to getting rid of my oil wrench cap. Is putting the little socket in there and kind of just smacking it and then prying it back and forth. Finally got that thing off. So now I can hand tighten it. And with the oil plug tightened and the oil filter housing tightened, it should be good to go. But like I said, I did put that O-ring on it badly. It should have gone on the smooth surface underneath the threading of it, which later on I do have to drain the oil again, and I just used the same O-ring and filter, and I had extra oil lying around to fill it up. So that's the mistake I made. When you're doing this, make sure to keep the O-ring there, and you won't have the problem I did. Now since everything's tightened, we don't need to be under the car anymore. I will, because I made the mistake with the O-ring, but you know, you should be good following this video. There's that wooden block in the background, making sure the car doesn't roll back. I take my jack stand out, and I can slowly let the car down from the jack. Now I'm about to refill the engine with the oil it needs, and once again, 5W20. I always like to look at the cap just in case somehow it matches 5W20. You don't get to see it, but it does say 5W20. I always just like to look at it and make sure. It's just one of those things. It's a simple thing to do, you know, precaution. And even though I'm so careful, here's another little mistake I make, unfortunately. So I'm going to go start my car so all the oil can flow through the engine and I can check my levels. And you want to see the mistake I made if you haven't guessed it? Yes, I left the funnel in there. Yep. That's what you want to do. Professional here at Salvage Title Approaches, but it's okay. because when you're under the face of pressure, you always act smooth and act accordingly. You don't run back and forth, and you definitely don't. Oh, drop the cap. Never mind, I dropped the cap. And it was about that point I remember reading in the little manual I had that you should always check the bottom to make sure there's no oil leaks from the oil plug and the oil filter housing. And it was at that time there was definitely a leak at my older oil filter housing. So I ran to go turn off my car. And like I said, I reused the same O-ring in my filter, and I just tightened everything up, and I had some 5W20, and I just refilled the engine. So this is me checking for leaks now. So it's not leaking terribly, because when it was leaking, it was a stream. It was dripping, and it spooked me out so badly. Oh, and right there, that little silver spot on the bottom of the oil filter housing, that's the spot where if you wanted to use that other O-ring that the filter came with, you would take that part off and replace it there, I believe. But yeah, the oil filter housing was looking good. My oil plug was looking good. So there was no leaks there. Even though I did put the O-ring in the bad spot, just simply changing it again was okay. It seemed to suffice. And yeah. Later on that night, I had something to do, so I came back later on because I ran out of oil, so I needed to top it off. So I went to O'Reilly's and bought just a little quart to fill it up. And yeah, everything seemed to be good. I was going to redo this video because on the account of making that mistake, but this whole recording took place about a month ago. And after 400 miles in a month's time, I don't even have a drop on my driveway. My oil filter housing is kind of wet where it is, but no leaks. And if you know this car, it burns oil, it disappears somewhere. So just keep an eye on your fluids and you're good. So that's just me topping it off, checking it out, and you can't see there, but the oil's in the engine. So good to go and ready to close up. And we won't leave the oil funnel in this time. Because that was so much fun last time. Don't want to do it again, right? So, close that. And with that, you're good to go.